this past year, a bunch of lives have mattered, right? Black, white, and then it was blue, and then there was an all lives matter, and then there was no lives matter when people went out and protested and they got sick and they made the rest of the city sick, right? But I'm going to make a video about why single lives matter and where I've run into trouble with this before. Many years ago, I became happily single when I broke up with a girl who was taking advantage of me. I was 22 years old, and I broke up with a girl, and I had a great time after I broke. I had a very good summer after I broke up. The problem was that I was having a great time all year. That following year on Valentine's Day, I decided to not let being single hold me back, and I decided to go out to a restaurant. And I was probably the only... At the time, it was not popular to go out to a restaurant as a single guy. I think nowadays, more people are doing it, but at the time, it was not a very popular idea. So I go to the restaurant. It's a buffet restaurant, and the waiter gives me the check, within 3 minutes of me sitting down, and I ignored it. I thought maybe he was mistaken. It was a busy night, so I thought he was just mistaken, and I continued to eat. And the waiter comes by my table again and says, "Do you mind paying now?" And I didn't want to cause a scene because, again, I'm trying to have a good time as a single guy. And so I gave him my credit card, and he has the audacity to give me this feedback form for me to fill out. Was the service good? Was the food good? I filled out the food was very good, but this guy needs to accept that everybody has a different concept of relationships. And at the bottom of the survey card, it said "thank you," and I crossed out the "thank" and I wrote "fuck" to make it "fuck you." And I tipped him 5 cents out of a $15-20 meal. I tipped him about 5 cents, and he didn't seem to care. He just wanted me out of the restaurant, it seemed like. He probably assumed that because it was a check for one, that it's not that great of a tip. It takes up as much real estate in the restaurant, especially next Valentine's Day. It's going to take up even more real estate, right? Because 6 feet in every direction. I don't know if it's still going to be around at the time, right? I can imagine that the waiter would rather that real estate be occupied by 2 people, right? That's probably what was happening. And but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That the more he assumes that people like that are not going to tip. I actually tip very well when I get good service. I have dietary restrictions, and I was in Mountain View one time, and another waiter went above and beyond, right? He goes back to take pictures to show how the layout is. I'm not that sensitive, but he takes pictures of the restaurant to show where food might become cross-contaminated and all that. And so I tip him about 100% of the price of the meal. Because I want to vote with my dollars, right? Okay. But that wasn't the only situation I run into in terms of biases involving singles. One of my big fears about going back to the office is people love to gossip. And when people ask me, "Hey, what are you doing that long weekend of Thanksgiving?" I really hesitate to tell people the truth sometimes. And which is annoying because I love to be honest at work. I hate to make up stories about families I don't have, children I don't have. I tried it at one point. It doesn't flow very well. I'd rather be honest. The problem is that people don't want to hear the honest story. So people ask me what you're doing in the long weekend, and I tell them the truth, right? Writing computer games, maybe searching rolls of coins, or maybe going to a movie alone, right? Or whatever the case is, right? Or maybe I need to correct some bad habits, so I'm planning on fasting during the weekend. and I don't want to take up too much challenge. So while I'm fasting, I'll probably take it easy, right? And I'll tell people the truth. The truth doesn't, but people don't like to hear that, right? They think it's silly. They think I'm not enjoying myself. Oh, excuse me, but enjoyment is is in the feeling of the beholder, right? But people don't seem to understand that. There's a like, do you enjoy doing that? Like, you enjoy writing games and searching for coins, and so there's a little bit of a bias. And then people think that, they think I'm burning myself out on all this stuff when I could be, especially depending on what you do for a living, right? People think that, hey, if you're wasting all your time searching coins and writing computer games, people think you're wasting your effort, right? You would never say that about somebody who's taking care of children or has a family. Even I myself sometimes do that. Right now I'm recording this in the hopefully the tail end of the COVID crisis, and I was just thinking about two of my coworkers. They've been happily married for 40 years or so. And I was just thinking how nice it is for them to have each other. Actually, I actually enjoy having myself too. See, I used to tell people, when people ask me what you're doing over the long weekend, I used to stand up for myself and I would say, I'm going to go out and look for my future wife. But I actually don't feel that way anymore. I found my husband. You're looking at him on the screen right now. I really do enjoy the company of myself a whole lot nowadays, especially ever since COVID. But that's a lot of people don't seem to accept that. I was working at another company many years ago, and the company had a policy that you could transfer your paid time off from one employee to another. I didn't even know about that policy until one of my coworkers told me about it. She had gotten pregnant. She had been working there for a number of years, and not long after I found out she got pregnant, she was telling me about this policy. I knew she wanted some of my vacation time, and she probably told me about. She didn't ask me for any of it. She just told me, "Did you know there's this policy?" But I knew. And I think she asked me because I'm single, and she said, you're just going to fool around, right? And well, it was really annoying because she was the team leader of the group. One of the team leaders, at least. We had two team leaders and then the manager. And I felt she had power over me. And so I ended up giving her half a day of the vacation time. I wished her well. Pregnancy is always tricky to talk about in the workplace in the first place, right? And now she having the position of power, and I felt extorted, even though it was only half a day of vacation. I felt really extorted for that half a day. It really affected my mood and my performance, and I just kind of chalked it off that maybe one day I'll need to ask her for a favor, and I ended up leaving the company, so I try not to think about it now, but it just goes to show that had I not been single, I don't know if it would have played out that way, right? Anyways, single lives matter. Thanks for watching.